I think the thing about fishing and your mental health is if you are going through some issues, whether it's anxiety, depression, trauma, fishing's just such a good outlet because you don't have to be good at fishing for it to be good for you. Like I could easily come and sit out here for 5 or 6 hours, have a few casts, but not see a fish. For me, it just gives a bit of clarity, a bit of a chance to reset and just take a breath. Fishing is right up there with something that's so good for your mental health. I've always enjoyed fishing, but I didn't know at the time like how much it was helping my mental state. 2013, and I'm with my now wife, and we just had a little baby boy. The following year, she fell pregnant again. There were complications in our pregnancy. We found out that the baby wasn't growing the way it should be, and at 27 weeks, we gave birth. You know, he'd fit in the palm of your hand, and he had huge issues, and it rattled us. 5 weeks later, Phoenix died. 2016, and had a healthy baby girl. In 2018, we decided to get married. We had the 2 kids. Life was good, and found out we were pregnant. Ended up being a little boy. Early on, there was signs that things weren't quite right there as well. You're almost desensitized from it because you know what's happening, you know what's coming, and that was brutal. That was brutal. So Geordie was born 32 weeks, and he passed away 5 days later. My wife has a love for sewing, so she'll often make things and listen to podcasts and read books, catch up with her family, and they're her ways of dealing with the trauma. And I just started fishing more. I never really understood until afterwards how much I relied on fishing and that ability to have an activity that allowed me to block everything else out and just breathe and try and make sense of everything. And I think my wife understands too. That's my outlet, and I think she knows it's not to try and necessarily catch a fish, but just to have a bit of time to myself and hit the reset, get some clarity on what's going on in life, because fishing definitely made my life a lot easier.
fishing and my mental health is like you put your foot on that rock ledge and everything that going on in life, it's gone. You know, you just switch onto the ocean and forget about everything else. In 2017, I got a lump on my neck and was coughing up blood. Yeah, drained, tired, very emotional. And yeah, I had a massive tumour in my left side of my neck, and then the cancer had spread from my testicles into my lungs and up into my lymph nodes in my neck. And so yeah, I had a germ cell carcinoma. February 2017 was one hell of a ride. It was like nothing you can imagine. And I found dealing with the part of the body and all the treatment I had to do was easy because I just backed my doctors, but my biggest battle was dealing with the mental side of it. I had to make it my life, and then it didn't matter how many times I got told I was going no good, or I learned how to block all the outside noise. I focused on my treatment. It became my challenge. It just became everything. Then I basically moved into the Lifehouse in Sydney. The next 6 months I had to do high dose chemotherapy. They gave me a plan with stem cell transplants, and I was lucky enough that I didn't need a donor. It's like there's no encouragement awards in doing chemo. I got to the end of my second stem cell transplant, and my oncologist put his hand on my leg and told me it was working. So that was enough to keep your mind together and just focus. I'm 5 years in remission now, and I reckon it's harder now mentally than it was when I was going through all that stuff. So mental health's so heavy. Like when it creeps in, and it can take over so easy. You only have to put your foot on the rock and get that salt air up your nose, and it's gone.
We live in Foster on the mid-north coast. Incredibly spoiled. I mean, look at this place. I'm the only one here. There's incredible waves. The fishing is next level. Wallace Lake is home to monster flathead, bream, whiting, kingfish in the channel, jewfish in the channel. And when you've got somewhere beautiful like where we live, it's so important to keep it clean and look after it for future generations. You don't want to end up like other places around the world have just been neglected, and I think here all the locals really take pride in our area, and it is well known as a travel destination because of how beautiful it actually is.
To me, it's paradise. We've got probably the most classic headlands from Sydney North. The best way to make a ledge work is to educate the rookies into how it works, and then we all fish together, and then we have this amazing migration of pelagic fish that always seem to come to Foster.
Where? Whereabouts? Oh yeah, I can see it.
For 3 hours north of Sydney, it's fairly untouched. We get a little bit of commercial fishing, but it's all sustainable. It's pro fishermen talk with the recreational fishermen, we share, we groom the next generation to fish sustainably and look after ledges. All come from people before us, and then people that are going to do it next. If you look after the ledge, it'll look after you eventually. One day it'll give you the best feeling ever.